Budget Direct are here to support you throughout your claim. If you tell us you need additional support due to your financial situation, family environment, physical health, mental health, or cultural background, we will work with you to provide the claim support aligned to your needs. We can also refer you to appropriate professional support services, which are listed on our website.
Been quite a while since the accident now, and to be honest, it's only now that I'm actually feeling strong enough to be able to talk about it. For a long time, my emotions were just too strong. It was too upsetting, too distressing, and I really couldn't bring myself to make this video. Now, I was very lucky. I had Shirley with me. I had a couple of very good friends. Special shout out to Dale and Bob, who I was able to talk to. I was talking to them almost every day, sometimes several times a day throughout the whole process of going through this insurance claim. And to be honest, you know, my support team helped me get through it. We all feel sometimes we're alone in the world, even though we're surrounded by friends and family. So if you're feeling at all like that at times, reach out, find someone to talk to. Friend, family, organisation, there's a lot of help network out there. So don't just bottle it all up inside. Trust me, just try and find someone to talk to. First of all, I want to make it very clear this is my experience, or mine and Shirley's experience, and my version of events. So your experiences might differ. In fact, to be honest, I really hope if you go through something like this, your experiences will be different. But this is my story, so let's just get that clear from the very beginning. This is a follow-up to a video from a few months ago where we discussed the crash, where we lost the car, the caravan, and a month or two of our journey. So this is just to talk about our experiences, the insurance, who we dealt with, what the outcomes were, and some of our experiences. So sit back and hope you find something interesting here. The insurance companies we were with were Budget Direct for the car. They're a subsidiary of Auto and General Insurance, and CIL for the caravan. So I'll just talk about Budget Direct because that's who we eventually had our policy with, although pretty much soon after we put the claim in, we were always talking with people from the Auto and General. You don't need to watch any further in this video, just want to know the outcome. All I can say is CIL were fantastic to deal with, and Budget Direct were not so fantastic to deal with. New car, new caravan, we stayed with CIL for the caravan insurance, and no surprise, I've gone with somebody else for the car insurance now. First of all, where the hell were we when all this happened? We were a few kilometers west of a small town called Julia Creek. We were about 650 kilometers from Townsville. That's about 400 miles. Now, to put this into perspective, this is pretty much the same as Sydney almost to Melbourne or almost to Brisbane. This is almost the same as driving from London to Edinburgh, or New York to Montreal, or Los Angeles to San Francisco. Can you imagine being told that's how far you've got to go to pick up your hire car? That's how far you've got to go for the nearest suitable accommodation. I tried to convey some of these distances, the isolation we had, the situation that we were going through to the agents at Budget Direct. It meant nothing to them. I just don't think they knew quite where we were. Now, some of these call centres I think were overseas, but some of them said they were in Australia, in Brisbane. They should have a slightly better feeling, slightly better understanding of how remote things are out there. The timeline of the events goes like this. On the Saturday, we had the accident. On the Monday, I was able to get to Townsville, get a hire car, come back to Julia Creek. On the Tuesday, we salvaged as much of our personal belongings as we could from the car and the caravan, put them under cover. It wasn't secure, and we didn't realize how important that was going to be until later. And then we drove back to Townsville. That was going to be our base for the next 3 to 6 weeks while we sorted everything out. Within 2 weeks of the accident, CIL Insurance paid out in full. In fact, they went a little bit over and above. They said, oh, is there anything else you can claim for? Oh, if you give us a photo of this, you're also entitled to that. If you also give some details on that, you're also entitled to another $1,000. They were fantastic. After 3 weeks of constant phone calls, emails to Budget Direct, we ended up being dealt with by the high care team. So special shout out to Rachel from the team there, who really helped things smooth things over. So that was 3 weeks after the accident, nothing. 2 weeks after that, high care team got involved. The car was towed from Julia Creek to Townsville. It was assessed. It was declared a total write-off. About 4 weeks after the accident, we had a new car. At 5 weeks after the accident, Budget Direct finally agreed and paid out. And about the same time, we also got a new caravan. And then we went back to Julia Creek to get as much of our salvage stuff as possible that we'd left there, to find a lot of it stolen. And surprise, surprise, it wasn't covered by anyone's insurance. I think it's pretty safe to say that we were in a state of shock after the accident. Certainly the first week we were just running around on autopilot, just trying to, just get through from day to day. Now, I really think insurance companies the size of Budget Direct, they should take this into consideration. They're dealing with people like us every day of the week in similar situations, much worse situations. They really should know that we're in a state of stress, state of shock. We're not really thinking straight. They should have more things in place to look after clients like us. They talk about it in that recorded phone call when you ring up and you're on hold. They tell you how much they care about you, how much they're going to look after you if you've got housing problems, mental problems, financial problems. Tell them all these things and they'll take that into consideration. Well, our experience is they don't take it into consideration. I've seen the notes, the back office notes from Budget Direct. There's no mention of that. They're going to go, oh, these poor people, we're going to go above and beyond. It's just like, no, don't tell them this, don't tell them that. And they just kept fobbing us off. We were lucky to have 3 nights accommodation in Julia Creek, and then everything was full. We had to leave town. The nearest car hire place, I think, was 200 or 300 kilometers away, and there was no long-term car hire from there. So we had to go to Townsville for everything. We were lucky to get accommodation there. We could only get accommodation there for 2 or 3 weeks because everything was booked out again. The clock was ticking, the stress we were under was just amazing. I hope never to go through that again. I hope no one else has to go through that sort of thing again, but I suspect it'll happen again to a lot of people out there, maybe even you. All I can say is, try and get a plan, talk to somebody and get lucky. I think we were lucky in a lot of this, to be honest. The main thing is we weren't hurt. There was no injuries. All we were was a long way from home. We were 2,000 kilometers from Sydney. That's about 1,200 miles. We couldn't even go back to our apartment because we rented that out until November. So what were we going to do? Go back to Sydney and couch surf with friends for the next 5 months? No, so we had to go to Townsville. We had to start again. We had to get a new car. We had to get a new caravan. We had to continue with our journey. Time after time, I was calling up Budget Direct. The agent would say, oh yeah, we're going to get a few quotes from some local repair shops to get the car looked at and quoted on. Oh yes, we're going to do this. And I said, there is nowhere within hundreds of kilometers, hundreds of miles that can assess the vehicle. You've got to take it from where it is in Julia Creek to probably Mount Isa or Townsville, hundreds of kilometers away. It's just a 7-hour drive to Townsville because they're the only ones who are going to be able to quote on it. And it just didn't seem to register. They're used to people being in big cities, having 10 different choices of repairers half an hour away. And it was a real struggle getting that through. I don't think really we got the message through at all, to be honest. It was only when we got through to the high care team that they sprung into action. The car had sat there for 3 weeks in the holding yard in Julia Creek, just sitting there. There was no one to look at it, no one to assess it. They had to arrange the tow. They didn't arrange the tow till 3 weeks after the accident. Now I know this because I was talking to the tow company in Julia Creek, and I said, oh, have the insurance companies been in touch to say it's going to get picked up? And they said, no. And by the way, it's not leaving our holding yard until they pay the tow invoice from the accident. So they hadn't even done that until 3 weeks later. Now, 3 weeks later, they arranged the tow, got the car from Julia Creek to Townsville. That happened over the weekend after 3 weeks. The Monday it got to the assessors. By the middle of that week, I think, they had a look at it. It wasn't hard to assess. You look at it and go, yeah, that car's a write-off. There's body damage, there's almost definitely going to be some structural frame damage. The engine was running for a while when it was on its side. There's possibly motor damage. It's a write-off, and the car's expensive, but there's way too much. Plus, it's going to be a 6-month wait to repair it. So, all in all, it's a write-off. They've got to give us a payout. It was just, I don't know why they took so long. 3 weeks of absolute inaction was just inexcusable, in my opinion. All they had to do was go, oh yes, this is a priority thing, escalate it. What are we going to do about this? Let's get things rolling. Let's be clear. Budget Direct followed their guidelines, their PDS, their product disclaimer statement to the letter. They paid out exactly what they said they were going to pay. Now, we all look at these things when we get insurances without really reading about, without really thinking that we're going to actually have to put a claim in, without thinking it through. So Budget Direct, in their eyes, they did the right thing. Budget Direct even said they recognized that there were delays in the process. But then they went on to say, oh, it was out of our control. Now, how can it be out of their control when they're the ones in control of the situation? They're the ones who have to pick up a phone call, call a tow truck company and say, take the car from Julia Creek to wherever, and it's only going to be Mount Isa or Townsville. That's a phone call. How long does that take? How can you delay that for 3 weeks? It's just beyond me. So they kind of did the right thing. They paid out what they said they'd pay out. We've probably lost another, probably $20,000 to $40,000 all up in this process by the time replacing the vehicles, replacing the caravans. You can't get like for like. It was just a nightmare. It was just a nightmare. So we're heavily out of pocket. In the end, Budget Direct did offer us a little bit over and above what they had to. I don't think it went close to what they should have paid, because they were liable for a lot of that heartache, a lot of that grief, a lot of that mental stress. That could have been prevented or minimized and managed better. And to be honest, I think they did a very, very poor job there. And so they accept that there was a problem, but nothing to do with them. So I don't know who they can point the finger at, given it was them and us and no one else involved in this in this little story, but there you go. So one upside out of all this is we got the new car, we got the new caravan, and I have to say the new caravan is fantastic. It's the same size as the old one, but it just meets our needs, our living style so much better. So we actually have got a much better caravan out of this. It costs a little bit more than the original, but it's a much better caravan. We're really happy with that. The car, so we went from the mighty Land Cruiser, RIP, to the mighty D-Max, and the car's almost half the cost of the Land Cruiser. But I tell you what, it does a really good job. I reckon it's almost as good. In fact, in lots of ways, it's better than the Land Cruiser to drive and to tow. So on the plus side there, we've got a new car, the D-Max, very happy with that. So it's not all bad. And as I say, no one got hurt. So that's also probably one of the biggest upsides out of this. Not a scratch on us, any of us. Once again, I want to stress that this is our story. These are our experiences. This is our version of events. Now, I do have a lot of paperwork, emails, messages. I've seen some of the paperwork that Budget Direct generated internally, so I can back up almost everything I've said in this video. But your experiences are probably going to be different. In fact, I hope they are. I hope they're better than ours. If you'd like to help us financially in any way, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Mark and Shirley. I'll put the link below, and you can throw a few dollars our way. It'll buy us a coffee, it'll buy us an ice cream or something, and if you do that, we'll be eternally grateful. Apart from that, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget, like and subscribe, comments down below please, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.